welcome to your favorite show, Identity Umhlobo, a show that talks about important issues that affect you and I. Today we are in a closed up place, and I've got these amazing young women from TALI Life International Trust. So this show is brought to us by TALI in partnership with the Czech Republic Embassy. So young women, how are you doing? How you doing?
Wow, thank you.
Oh, great. So maybe I can just invite you guys to introduce yourselves. Makasunu got any language, by the way. Don't be stuck up in English. It's not your first language. Shada. Yeah?
Okay, my name is Nyasha Viola Matambo. I'm a young woman trained by TALI Life International under the LEMS program. So I'm a LEMSter and a change maker. And I'm very passionate about gender issues, in particular gender-based violence.
I am so excited about you, Nyasha. Thank you for making time.
Hi guys, so my name is Tari Rotawodzera and I'm a LEMSter, I'm a change maker, and I am also a trained citizen journalist, and a young leader, a young woman in leadership.
Woo! I think that sounds fancy. Citizen journalist, yeah. Lovely.
Hello everyone, this is Melody Ganunga, a sociologist in making. I am an empowered young woman trained by TALI Life International. So I am a LEMSter. I'm an advocate. I advocate for the sexual and reproductive health of the young women and girls and boys in particular.
It's you.
Hi guys, my name is Gamchirai Majama. I am a LEMSter.
I am
a LEMSter and I'm a citizen journalist in the making.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. Charlene with him, or?
Hi everybody, my name is Charlene with an R, Nomalanga Kamota. I am trained under the LEMS program, which is Leadership Economic Mentorship Apps by TALI Life International. I am also a young citizen journalist in the making, and I am passionate about issues of education.
Wow. So I missed out and I'm so jealous. Like, oh, she's of the citizen journalist, and we're so and it's still going on. I mean, right at the time of recording, it was still going on, and I'm so proud that a veteran journalist, Blessing Mhlanga, is one of, and you guys call him Mr. Is the one who's been training you, and Miss Karen Kwasi also. I'm just so feeling sad that I didn't attend most of it. I would have loved to attend. So I'm hoping next year, if we get this opportunity again, we'll attend. But guys, so what drove you? Because there was a call, even for the LEMSters to apply. There was only 20 spaces for young women to apply. What made you want to be part of this? Anyone can answer.
So growing up, I always wanted to be a journalist, but then you know the thing of getting my points at Awanda at A level, and everyone will be like, with 13 points, later journalist. My 8 points to our friend. So with this call for applicants, I was like, wow, my dream is gonna come true now. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. That's amazing. Wow, thank you.
Okay, as for me, when I saw the call for application, I went like, okay, this thing is for me, because one, I'm an alumni LEMSter, and two, I'm passionate about writing, but I don't know the skills, I don't have the skills. Wow. So I thought this is an opportunity for me to get the skills, for me to write something that someone else can read, to write something that can make a change in my community, to air out the news and the things that are happening around me, so that everyone can get a chance to learn, to read and to understand my community.
I always wanted to write. So I remember back in high school, I was in a young writers club, but then it all ended when I left high school. So when I saw this, I was like, oh wow, I had a chance at writing, yay! So I took the opportunity, and I'm glad they approved my application.
Great.
As for me, when I saw the call for...
You're probably the youngest. What's the youngest? Oh, whatever. But yeah.
When I saw the call for participants, I only quoted 2 words: journalism and learning.
Oh, wow.
When I'm at home, I I talk to myself in the mirror. Like I report news for myself.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Alrighty.
So I took it as an opportunity to be like a small professional journalist, and I'm seeing it coming true.
Nice.
Oh my God, that's great.
Yes.
So you guys, you applied and you have all these ideas, and I'm so happy that you're already part of the programs that TALI has been putting, the LEMS program. So you kind of have an idea to say, okay, when TALI invites us to trainings, maybe this is what we're gonna have. So then you are good measure to say, okay, I feel confident that, okay, when we trained you the first time or with other things, then you're still coming to be trained by us. But I want to find out, there were excitements. I mean, some of you have said, I've always wanted this, Torandega, Pamira, and stuff like that. And Nyasha said that she's always wanted to write. So is Noma as a catch-up to the former, whatever. Your expectations, your excitement and expectations versus reality. Where are we? Like, is it meeting your expectations? Or this is something like...
So as for me, when I saw the advert, there was also an issue of you're going to be writing for the next 6 months. And as for me, I'm not even passionate about writing. So I thought twice, should I go, should I not go?
Right.
But then at the same time, I love Makua and Kutinya Zifambe Guarnofana Kamba social media. So I thought Kutichi, this is right for me and I'm going to learn a lot.
Right.
So in any Pandaka applier, I had thing in mind because nandine idea it's something chatanga for the next 6 months, so maybe publish a newspaper or magazine or something like that.
Right.
And but then Pandaka Zoya background, wow, I learned a lot. Okay. I learned a lot because now it's not only matter of writing some stories, but then kwanza kutoti video rakurona ngwatora rere unorisawo picture unoika mutorero futi kaunoriita.
I missed out.
Aungoti ukaona vanhu vachirwa so ungoti vanhu vanga vachirovana pakapaka no, but iwo semunhu ane chakadzidza kufana nemunhu wemustreet unoika kumunyorera kaunozviita. So I learned a lot actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I mean, that's so deep. Yeah.
Good people.
Yeah.
Pandaka apply for this citizenry journalism. In as much as I wanted to be a journalist, I don't know how to write. Okay.
Yeah.
So for that application, writing, and I was like, wow, writing. And then yesterday we did an exercise.
Right.
So everyone had to write a story.
Yeah.
And then I scope a project. Can you imagine? And I told myself that. And I Simuka was shivering. But honestly, now I'm going to your story. Did not pay them.
Yeah, so that's amazing. Yeah. It really you increased my wow. I didn't attain. I'm not a citizen journalist, but I am. I'm coming from identity.
Okay. As for me, for now I think I'm meeting my expectation. Okay. Yesterday we had an exercise, as Melo said. We're supposed to write a story and then shoot a video, interview someone from our community on the story we wrote. So, basing on the concept we were taught about how to take a video, you don't take it in portrait, you take it in landscape.
Wow, you were taught that?
Yeah.
That's amazing, because I have a problem with people who like you're saying, people, the photo and then cannot back again. So, landscape, I do yeah, that's amazing.
So, I was told to drop in this table. I find a shake. No movement, yeah, come in. kana ndakabata phone yangu inofana kunge ndakaresta pabhoti yangu.
Right.
And I'm so happy to share kuti ndanzi good work. Yeah, so I think I'm meeting my expectations because I want to be famous. I want to be that Anna Gamchila.
But in the form of a leader who is pushing Makua in community, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it in a fancy way, leading way, you know, leading by example.
Okay.
I'll be like, you know what, you need to say who did this in a formal way and ask for permission to write their names.
Okay.
Yes.
That was my
Nice.
ethics.
Nice.
Citizen journalism.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Okay, so what I expected when I applied, I went like, this is going to be a writing camp. I'm going to write from day 1 to day 4. I'll be writing every day. Then I was like, okay, since I'm still working on my dissertation, this might help. Then I came here.
Oh, wow.
Then I'm like, okay, this is new. Okay, I thought I knew English. All right, there's no such English like this.
Wow.
Okay. And then I actually learned that this is just not about writing.
Right.
It's about improving yourself, your individual self.
Yeah.
It's also about learning those little skills to be a citizen journalist, to be a writer, and also to be a photographer and a videographer. I'm going to be a videographer and a photographer. You shall see.
Because the world has gone video, right?
Yes.
People like to read, but visual.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, I am impressed.
Yeah.
Miss Norma,
Okay, so when I read...
why everybody calls you Norma, and I usually call you Charlene, but don't want any pressure, man.
do not succumb to pressure.
Okay,
sweetie.
Charlene with an R.
Yes,
Okay.
it's still alright.
Alrighty.
Okay, so what I was expecting. So I took my dictionary. I saw Pakanzi, citizen journalism. Then I took my dictionary. Citizen is a person who's living somewhere, right?
Right.
And then journalism is somewhere else, and it is something else, and it's a discipline.
Right.
And then, being the African that I am, Mbandeta direct translation.
Okay.
So, what did you expect? And what I'm seeing right now, my way blasphemy.
Okay.
Blasphemy, total blasphemy.
Explain.
Okay, I came expecting that you're going, with us citizens, we're going to be doing the actual journalism.
Yeah.
You know, to another Mr. Mhlanga.
Yeah.
Right? And then I find out, no. It's totally not the same. Like, citizen journalism, it's a fancy way of saying I can tell a story that I'm passionate about.
From my community.
From my own perspective, from my community.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I can relate to what I'm talking about.
Oh, wow.
Right? Mr. Mhlanga can just talk about what he's paid to write about. But then you can't tell him to be passionate about gender-based violence when he's passionate about sport. So I'm learning, and thanks to TALI and Mr. Mhlanga, thank you very much. I'm going to be on everybody's case. Everybody's. No one's excluded.
Ooh. As long as you do that with ethics, that is what matters. As long as you don't hold us cigarettes out to say, hey. Oh, well, thank you. Anybody who hasn't shared? Oh, wow. So we are taking a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get deeper into understanding, okay, then what did they learn? What is the takeaway? All this thing, the hullabaloo of, the excitement. Tona kuzvinzwa manje kuti wachinja abantu impilo zabo njani. So don't go away. Stay with us. welcome back to your favorite show, Identities on Global, where we're talking about important issues. And today, I am here with young women at their citizenry journalist training in partnership with TALI as well as the Czech Embassy. Amazing young women who have already made us a drill and feel like, oh wow, we lost out. And we've already been told that Tivan will be street because Atina could say, however, we want to understand for them what citizen journalism is, and also what it is that it is going to do for them, or whatever it is that is so important that they learn from this program. So I want to come to you, Nyasha, and I just want to understand, why do you think citizen journalism is important?
Okay.
As a young woman who's passionate about gender-based violence.
Okay, as a woman who's very, very, very passionate about gender-based violence, citizen journalism is important because I get to tell the stories of the women that have been suffering gender-based violence, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic era.
Right.
Because as statistics has proven that gender-based violence has risen abruptly. I feel like we should tell the story. Why is it rising in such numbers? And I should be able to tell a story to fellow women and young women that this is acceptable, this is not acceptable. What is gender-based violence? Why gender-based violence? Where to report to? Who to talk to? And what happens after I have reported my case? So citizen journalism is very important because I get to tell a story to a fellow woman. I get to tell a story to a fellow community member that what am I passionate about and how can we address what I'm passionate about and what can be someone else's passion through writing and telling stories.
Wow, Svana. Wow, that is so deep. The passion notunzwa kuda kutoda ameniko anangamuchirai ndozoti mune nyaya imimi ye environment yamunofamba nayo zvekuti tiudzewo kuti for you, why is citizen journalism important as a person who is passionate about the environment?
I think that it is important. There is a thing called black market. These days, I think those are good trend. Talking of my gas tanks, my gas refillers, it's an environment and it. So black market my gas refillers, and issues citizen journalism. It's important about in dream kid. Saka ndinoziva kuti mikodzo yese yakadai so tinotenga sei, and maitiro town, are they meeting the regulations dzinodiwa nevanhu let's say vezera exactly, are they meeting that? Kana vasomita, then I'll go, let's say, on my notebook and jot down with. So these guys are violating the regulations, rules and regulations. I think it's an opportunity for me to evaluate, analyze what is happening in my environment before I publish the story. So I think it's an important thing for young women like us to learn how to do their things in a fancy formal way, SF, exactly, to address issues to do with their environments, their health, their well-being in their communities, and also to address issues of dumping areas. To me, I see it as an opportunity to address maybe the authorities, say, geto rakadai so marara ari kurasirwa pamberi pegedhi rechechi, but kune madumping areas akanyorwa kunzi tinodhampira apa, then city council ichayozotora apa. So I think I will evaluate, analyze it, and say it in a way yekuti vanokwanisa kunditambira.
You mean kunyora, unenge wakuchinyora kuti vamwe vaverenge? Kuti
vamwe vaverenge vaona kuti ma-issues aya ariko but haasi kutaura nezvawo.
Right.
So iwe yekuti tinzwikwe isusu ma-young women kuti titone ma-issues kuti
ari kunetsai. I'm still here about especially the environment. Yes, my love.
Okay, so I'm so passionate about the sexual and reproductive health of young people. Being a resident of Epworth, Epworth is associated with all antisocial behaviors, right? So growing up, I always wanted to be an advocate. So with citizenry journalism, now I can be able to write stories. You know, the issues of booster,
Yes.
and then
So you mean by booster, you mean the abuse of young children but into prostitution?
Prostitution,
Yes.
yeah, like 12
Or
years
sex work. Yeah.
So now I can stand, and because I'm witnessing it's my community, I'm a citizen, right? So now I can write because I'm witnessing. So citizenry journalism is a science-based on evidence. Because, so I have evidence, I can be able to interact. I know
munhu ari kubva kucommunity
Exactly.
ne-evidence.
munhu ari kuborodhiwa akanzwa zvekubooster anogona kusanzwisisa zviri kuitika ikoko, but because I am a resident, I can really write zviri kunyatsoitika nemo.
Amen. Lekuri kuchechi taitoti hemeni iyoyo. Miss.
Okay, so inini I'm a leader and I'm also interested in leadership and the young
I know
women.
you ran for office.
Yes.
And you had already joined the LEMS program. We're very proud of you.
Yes.
You are the secretary, the outgoing.
Yes, the
Pakatita my
outgoing.
elections.
Oh,
The outgoing secretary general. We are so happy that you. So yeah, it's a young woman in leadership.
Yes. So now with this citizen journalism, and it's not a matter of writing only, but it can also be in videos. And I've also learned Kutizhonisho, you should make use of our social media handles.
Yes.
For nice, but you can make something different, and you can even get paid per social media.
Yes.
So now, inini same muskana wechidikari into leadership. I have noticed kuti we have people. Take for example, I was in SRC at University of Zimbabwe, but unoita leader. Then zvinozongoperera kuuniversity.
Yes.
Because you are not seen.
You are not, and there are no opportunities like this
Yes.
to put you out.
Exactly. So now, just because I've been trained to become a citizen journalist, and so now I'm now able to let the world see and know Van Baruquita rise in leadership, especially the young ladies. We have got a lot of ladies Barukupinda in leadership. Kungavi kuma universities, colleges, even at high school, cheko. We have my junior parliamentarians, we have got what. But then at least those young ladies in leadership. Vanozokura to share
Yes.
and so now being a trained citizen journalist, ndakwanisa kutora news pane ndaona munhu ari kunzi awina election paUZ now secretary general, ndakwanisa kuzvipublisha zvozikanwawo, ndinotegawo vamwe vanhu vandinozivawo vari popular, pavanoita retweet or pavanopost all that thing, it becomes well known, and then zvinoendesawo vamwe somewhere.
Absolutely. Noma, had you come in?
No, not
Chimed in?
yet. Okay. Now that we have these problems, we would like to implore to the public. So by doing that, we'll use social media where everybody is, and we also go pamate patechichera mvura kwamna textbook grade 7 pro megam chirai, and so with that I help the agenda of education push it forward.
Wow.
And also we'll find kuti sometimes when we're being told issues of education, not every detail is told.
Yes.
Vanotara the pith mongo wacho. But then citizen journalism is supposed to be unbiased. So because it's your experience.
Right.
So now I can go out and tell the world kuti paper takanzi takapiwa my textbook. Takapiwa 5 per class 732 towards a rave.
Wow, that is amazing. So we are happy because TALI is championing the access to state-funded education.
Yes.
So I think that you're also we want to see the young women who were trained in citizen journalism rising stories, taking up stories, bringing about children who are not going to school. I want to invite you, if they're taking a break, to not go away, to stay with us and to enjoy the young women actually coming to speak about their experiences in the last segment. Don't go and stay with us. to your favorite show, Identities on Trouble. Today, I am gathered here with citizen journalists who've been trained to be citizen journalists by the program that TALI, with the support of the Czech Republic Embassy, is supporting. And we've heard about the amazing trainings that have gone through. Now we just want to jump into, in brief, ladies, what are the key issues that you took to heart? What was your aha moment? What is the one thing that you're like, wow, that changed your life? Like, in brief. Anybody can start. Let's just have it.
Okay. So my aha moment was, you don't just tell a story because you're passionate about it. Don't use your emotions. Judge before you report. Is it worth judging to the world? Is what you're saying going to help anybody? Whatever you report is to answer the question, so what? Oh wow. So now that you've told us, what are you going to do about it? What do you want us to do about it? So that was when I realized that this is not kids play. It's serious issue.
Leadership. Wow.
Yeah, so as for me, the main issue it's the issue of rights.
Right.
That you should know you have your rights. And so anti kutora picture kasangane munhu like mutown kutora picture munhu atomborambidzwe because ari public space.
Yes.
Saka munhu atombofana kutobvunza kuti mutore picture because ari public space. Zvasiyana kunge wamupindira murume make woti ndotora picture ukabvofuna kukumbira. So anzi you should know your rights. Iwewe kuti izvi zvinobvumidzwa izvazvibvumidzwe.
Yes.
So that was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. As for me, chakaita kuti chandakafarira mutraining ndechekuti takaudzwa kuti there is no such thing as a stupid question. Every question is important. And also when writing, ndakanzi unofana as a citizen journalist unofana kunge une ma-ethics. Know the ethics of writing. Be accurate on your story and avoid plagiarism. Don't just copy and paste Mr. Mutlanga's story and put it on your page. Unotosiwa with that. And then avoid being unbalanced. Be balanced. Be neutral. Don't take sides. Be objective. Leave people with that kuti saka akadimboda so kwete kuti vhati nemone mazita avo vese votoziva kunzi epetunaningi usava munhu akada. So ndakazvitora sezvinhu zvakakosha kuti I need to have focus pane zvinhu zvandichiita, to have direction on all the things that I'll be doing, especially when it comes to write stories pertaining young women and girls.
My aha moment was when we were told that every story should have a why did they say this and what is not being said about this story. So we learned that as citizen journalists, you should be able to research, ask interview questions that are structured so that you don't get stupid or radical answers. So personally, I felt like it got to me because there are stories that are told that you know about, but the version that comes out in other papers and other publications, you wonder what went wrong. This is not what happened, but they have their own angle. So I realized I should also be able to tell my story with my own angles. Like a gender-based violent activist, I should be able to ask and understand what went wrong, excluding emotions, obviously. But I should tell with an angle that does not affect the victims, it's not biased, and also points out these very, very strong points about the story. So I learned that you should research, you should understand the stories before you write about them. You should have evidence so that you don't get attacked back when the story doesn't have enough facts.
So, as a citizenry journalist, a trained citizenry journalist, I learned that there is misrepresentation of women in media, right? So now, because I'm now a trained citizen journalist, I'm gonna stand up and write and represent women correctly, because munhukadzi akaita chakanaka zvinonzi mukadzi wanhingi aita chakanaka. Anditi
Never about them personally.
never about them. Whether you're a doctor, zvinongonzi zvonizvo mukadzi wagavhena azowana degree rakati, kungoti Dr. Ningi vane degree ravo. Anditi so as trained citizen journalist, I'm gonna now stand for the young women, because I'm so passionate about the women. So there are misrepresentations of women. So now I'm gonna stand up and stand my ground and speak out for the women vari kumashure vari kutsikirwa. Tionekwo kuti mumastreets tine zvatiri kuita, tine zvinobatika zvatiri kuita, but it's more like varume vega ndo vari kuita zvinobatika. So community, I'm coming.
Community way.
As a journalist who's been trained by TALI, I feel like I'm equipped, and I will be more equipped through the 6 months writing. Yes. So I'm going to write your stories, not my stories. The community. I shall be your voice, and you shall be heard.
Wow, that's powerful. Yes.
And as for me, lastly, I would just like to thank Take a Life International for this great and wonderful opportunity. And I would like to say, as a change maker, I am going to go and make a change in my community. I'm going to make sure that every young woman who is involved or has anything to do with leadership is going to be known.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And as a citizen journalist in the making, I am going to ensure at least all the children in my community's stories will be heard. At least every child will go to school, regardless of background, financial status, and whether they have parents or not. Everybody will go to school. Everybody in Zimbabwe will have a degree.
Wow. That is very ambitious.
So as a trained citizen journalist, there's so many organizations out that deal with young women and girls. I'm coming there, I can write your stories. And now I know how to write stories.
Wow, we heard for ourselves. We're just going to talk to some of the organizers, some of the people who are working in the background with these young women, to just hear why it is important and what this journey means to them and also to the young women. Don't go away, we're continuing.
It was an amazing opportunity and experience to work with young ladies from TALI. Basically because, as a journalist, we've had a lot of women complaining that their voices are not being included in the media. And you find that there is then that need to have young women speak for themselves, talk about issues that they're passionate about. Now, the program that they're doing is that they want to have a voice and power. And when someone has a voice, they can change their own destiny. And working with these young ladies and taking them through the aspects of ethics, the aspects of how to be a citizen journalist, and how they should use it meaningfully to change their lives. I saw some interest, and I saw some amazing issues developing out of them, that if they are told from the perspective of those who are suffering with and living in those situations, the stories could be more powerful and more effective. And that also will help professional journalists to be able to pick up these issues from citizen journalists who would have detail because they are trained, they are more responsible, and they're ethical, and they can be trusted. And for me, that was very important, and I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to continue working and mentoring to ensure that all people have a voice and all people are heard, because it's a constitutional right. You have a right to be heard. You have a right for human dignity, and you have a right to speak. So basically, when I was having the training session with these young ladies, they were so passionate about the menstrual, what they called the period poverty. Okay, this was my first time coming across this, and how this affects their lives, and also those in university, how they are having WhatsApp learning, which universities are calling online learning, and how this is affecting their interaction with their studies and how it will affect them at the end of the day. So these are issues that I want to sit down and look at and say, how are young ladies being affected by this, and how will this impact in their future in the long distance? Because when you sit from outside, you hear people call universities saying we have adopted online learning, and all they're doing is sending voice notes, and and there's no interaction in that learning process. So these are issues that that affected me as I was interacting with these young ladies, and made me realize that as a journalist, I need to listen more to those who are affected than creating stories for them.
Young women need to understand how to first consume media, what kind of media they're consuming, and how it affects the conditioning of how they think, how they act, and how they plan their lives. And it's also important to teach young women citizen journalism so that they can create their own content, they can create their own narrative. Because we are in a situation where there's a gap in terms of female-authored narratives as well as female-owned platforms. And so the gap then creates the space where we've got a lot of stereotyping of women in the media, where women are not only misrepresented, but they're already underrepresented. Their issues are trivialized by the media. They are usually just, put somewhere in a newspaper where people actually would not care to read. And when you find women making headlines and they're on the front page, it's usually stories that are not positive narratives of women. So we need to fill this gap where we have young women who understand the issues, because I'm happy that these young women that we are working with already understand the issues. So their content is going to be very issue-driven. They understand the issues that they're talking about. And now that they've got the technique, they can also start appealing to an audience that really wants to know about women, an audience that can also do something to drive change. So media can be a very strong tool for advocacy if young women know how to write, if young women know how to build an audience, and if they know how to really develop a very concrete media strategy in terms of the agenda that they've set for themselves.
Tariracho Masaraure, the programs manager at TALI Life International, an organization that advances the rights of girls and young women. We are here in partnership with Czech Republic, where we are supporting young girls who are being trained in citizen journalism. As an organization now operating amidst this COVID-19 pandemic, we realize that young girls and women's experiences are not being captured, especially in the news. And we also realize that business has shifted to be digital, to be online, and because of that, already our young girls and women should have their voices amplified. That is also on those social media spaces. So that is why we have convened all of them here to be trained on citizen journalism, so that their voices can be heard. There are a lot of things that are happening in their communities, and because they are being trained on citizen journalism, they are then able to capture those issues and make them known and have their voices heard. Most news is general, leaving out girls and young women's experiences, but having them reporting or sharing on an individual standpoint point of view, it means that the community or the service providers are going to understand their experiences, such that when they are offering services, the services are demand driven, not supply driven. For example, amidst this COVID-19 pandemic, girls and young women have been victims. Evidence is showing that they've been victims of gender-based violence. So if they report on their own, sharing their own experiences, it means those who are coming to give them services, they are well informed of the experiences of these young girls and young women. So from these 4 days training, the girls have been equipped with the skills that are needed when conducting citizen journalism. That's why we are here.
I'm Tatenda Tatla, the project officer for TALI Life International. I think it is important to train girls and young women on citizen journalism, because most of the time we have realized that most of the stories that are related to girls and young women are not reported. Panama cases akawanda anoitika ewasikana nema young women asingazoripotwe just because those who will be reporting maybe will be my male journalists. So I think it is important for the girls and young women to be trained so that they can be able to report their own story and to tell their own story in their own words, expressing how they feel about issues that affect them in their communities. Thank you.